Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting into? We are getting to Married at First Sight Australia. It has now hit the UK screens and we are now on series 11 and this is episode 1. But before we get into it, as I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so you know I'm on and doing videos. And let's talk about this episode, shall we? It looks kind of spicy. Let's just put it this way, it does look kind of spicy at the end of the day. So we got the bucks and the hens meeting up, you know, the ones that they picked to go through this experiment with. So we do have an older gent and he's worried about, like, you know, what people will say because he's now going on to reality TV show looking for a wife, yada yada yada. His name's Richard. He's 62 years old. He doesn't necessarily look his age, and I know he says to people, well, what does a 62-year-old look like? Not the way you look, love. In our brains, in terms of thinking of what a 62-year-old would look like, not the way Richard looks, because he does look a little bit younger. But of course we're gonna be saying what we need to say. You've put yourself into this realm of reality TV, so be prepared to be talked about, my guy. Be prepared to be talked about. So then we have some of the guys waltzing in. We have a Jim and a Tristan. All I can say is these guys really dressed down, didn't they? They were very, very casual, like for their box party, like really casual about it. So then you got the women who meet, and it first shows this girl called Natalie. Her energy is on, yeah, a different type of energy, but she's got some energy. She puts herself down a lot. Like, this girl puts herself down a lot. She already feels like she's not good enough and she doesn't know who the experts will find for her. She wants someone who's quite nerdy and on her level in that sense. I'm just kind of like, I don't know how she's going to cope within this experiment, to be fair. Hopefully she'll get what she wants, but I don't know how she's going to cope within this experiment. So she's basically the first one there and she's sitting so awkwardly waiting for people to come in. So in walks the next one, and this is Tori, and I have to say she looks very high maintenance, like very high maintenance. She's basically talking about how she wants 2 or 3 children. She doesn't want 4 because then the family car would be ugly, so she wants to keep it to 2 or 3 to be able to get the 5 seats in the car that she wants. She wants to be maintained, basically. That's what she wants in essence. She kind of called Natalie simple. I didn't like that in the slightest, because I'm like, who the fuck are you to come on this show? Yeah, because you're both on the show for the same reasons, and then you're sitting there bagging another girl, yeah, when you're on the show for the same reason she is, in terms of trying to get matched up with a man. That's why things are probably not going to work out great for our Tory, let's put it that way. Then in walks Jaden in the box beat, and the lads look kind of intimidated because Jaden is a kickboxer professionally. He is really quite nice though. He is really quite a nice person. He just wants someone who'll be able to look beyond the surface, because he is kind of a lovable character. Hopefully that will come out within the episodes, but we'll see. And then you've got Lucinda, who's 43, and she's a definite free spirit, like an absolute free spirit. When they asked this girl about this woman about what she was looking for in a man, like, or what she wanted in a man in terms of the experts, why did she drop a scroll? Like, see, why did this girl just, I've got it, and dropped a scroll and then went through this? I thought, my girl is too enough. So she's sitting there and she's asking people about what their manifesto is. And my girl brought out a notepad and pen, like seriously brought out a notepad and pen to write shit down. So in comes our first black woman of Mass Australia, because there hasn't been a black woman on it yet, I do not believe. Or it might have done, but I haven't watched all the series. But from what I gather, I don't think it has. And it's the lovely Cassandra, which I was happy for. I was happy for that one. Guy Simon in the guy's beats, and he was talking about the fact that he was married before and the person that he did marry was his best mate's girl, and he kind of went to school with them and stole his best mate's girl and ended up marrying her. So it was Mr. Steal Your Girl. I was like, red flag number one. I don't trust you. I didn't trust him from the get go. To be honest with you, I like really didn't trust him from the get go. So then pops up Lauren, who's the next girl in, and this girl is nuts. She absolutely says that she loves red flags. She likes toxic men. She really does. She likes to be all up in that situation. She ain't half cocked herself, to be honest with you. She's off her crack. Michael ends up walking in to the hens part. So we have a gay man coming, a black gay man, and he says that he wants family and kids. All of them at first are shocked to hell and back that this dude has walked in. You've got, I think it was Tori and it was Lauren looking at him like he was a nice drink of water, like thinking, oh, is he a stripper? Well, Lauren thought he was a stripper, which was a dickhead thing to say. I mean, the man's in a whole suit coming in to join you at the hen party. What made you think he'd be a fucking stripper, you damn fool? But anyway, lovely guy. He comes in and all he wants to do is find his one, basically, because he's totally ready. The box beat that Simon, the guy who was Mr. Steal Your Girl, is actually the gay one of the group. And it seems as though he's only really just recently came out. It didn't seem like he'd come out for a long period, but he wanted this experience. He wanted to be able to go down this route. I don't know if he'd ever had a relationship with a guy as yet on coming out. It didn't appear that he had done, because he'd been in a marriage for quite a long time, but we'll see what happens. The first matches. So the first match is Tim and Sarah. She is a girl that has basically been in a relationship for 4 or 5 years, but within those 4 or 5 years, her ex-partner had literally been cheating on her quite a lot, and each time she kept taking this man back, each time she kept taking him back, jumping back into a relationship with her. So of course that's going to give her some type of views in regards to men, and that's going to give her some type of view in regards to how she's going to be in the relationship going forward. But you know what? She wants to get married, so, you know, let's see how this pans out for her. Now, I didn't know Sarah is actually Colombian. She was from Colombia. She came over when she was quite little, and she speaks Spanish. And her and I can't remember the expert's name, were having a conversation in Spanish as well, because she's from Colombia as well. So he was cheated on as well. So we'll see what happens here. We'll definitely see what happens here. So then we have the next couple coming up, which is Cassandra and Tristan. Both of them are two opposites, but really, you can tell they're really nice people. They have really good family backgrounds. The only thing for Cassandra is she went through the pain of losing her mother to cancer, but then also went through the pain of losing her childhood sweetheart, who'd met when they were quite young at school, and they'd been together all that time, and he got killed in a motorbike accident, basically. So she literally lost herself for a good few years, and now she's come out of that the other end, worked on herself, reflected and everything like that, and now she's wanting literally to look for something like she had with that partner, because she knows if that partner was still here, she would not be doing this show. They'd probably already be married with a gaggle of kids by now, basically. So for her, it's kind of like making sure that, you know, she's open to receiving whatever a person brings into her life in that sense, because she could quite easily shut down if she feels that, you know, she might lose that person in any way, shape or form, because that could happen. You could potentially shut yourself down even though you believe that you're okay at this point in time. But if things are going really well with that person, you can see that future with that person, you might potentially start shutting certain parts of yourself down in order not to get hurt, worrying something might happen to that person. And that could happen with Cassandra, but as again, we'll see how that works out for both of them. So they're all getting ready for their weddings, and they're all looking beautiful. Basically Sarah is hoping for someone tall, handsome and funny, and she says that she will show her displeasure if she does not like him. Her friends have told her that she needs to broaden her horizons, and it seems as though Tim's best man may derail the wedding because his speech may be absolutely shit. Well, it weren't even that derailed that fucking wedding, let's just put it that way. It wasn't that at all. It was literally at their wedding breakfast. She was so happy meeting him, and they were getting on so well, and they had that electric chemistry and everything like that. They getting to the fucking wedding breakfast, having a chat about previous relationships and stuff like that. I don't know why Tim decided to at that point in time, but he decided to tell her that he'd had an ex. They'd broken up. I think he was engaged. Yeah, that he was engaged, and their relationship ended 6 months before he came on to the show. And basically Sarah was not best pleased with that, because she understood the fact that she ended a 5-year relationship with a guy, but yet she knew the temptation of literally keep going back, even though that person cheated on them, because Tim's girlfriend had cheated on him, and that's why they broke up. So she is putting her feelings of what she's feeling and what experiences she went through with her ex onto Tim, by basically believing that Tim has not had enough of a degree of separation from this girl in order to say that he won't go back, he won't keep going back. And I'm just like, but you can't judge him by your same yardstick, Sarah, because he's not you at the end of the day. And she literally, the whole tone of that wedding then changed from the minute he told her that. And I thought, ram beat. She just read right into that. And I think sometimes it's different between men and women when we separate. Whereas some men can literally lock off their emotions then and there, from when someone's done something to them, like cheating, they can lock off that emotion and say, well, yeah, I'm definitely not going back there. And that's what Tim is trying to say to Sarah. He is not going to go back there. What's done is done. But Sarah does not believe it in the slightest. And then the day got even worse. Because the best man's speech, oh my fucking god, I don't understand why Tim allowed that man to speak for him on his big day like that, because he was so fucking rude. Like, my guy was rude and uncouth, and the jokes he was saying was so inappropriate. There was no laughs. Everyone was sat there like that, like, is he really saying this shit? Am I really hearing this with my own ears? This man is saying this shit in a crowded room right now, and he thinks this shit is funny. It's absolutely fucking inappropriate, mate. I was like, yeah, sometimes people sometimes judge you by the friends of the company that you keep. And I'm sorry, his friends did not give a very good impression in the slightest. I was thought, you should have went back to the motherfucking drawing board and literally sat there and went through that speech with someone else to say, is this okay to say? No. It just went from bad to worse. Then you see Cassandra and Tristan's wedding, and poor Tristan was just rambling because he was so nervous. He was absolutely rambling. And then they saw each other, and they really do like each other, and they're actually getting on quite well at the wedding. There were no hiccups, there were no arguments, there were no disruptions, there was no disrespect at the end of the day. But the dad's speech was like chef's kiss. His speech was absolutely lovely. And you could tell that Tristram really wanted to make a good impression on him, not only on his wife, but his wife's family as well. So he literally did get up from the wedding breakfast table when she said, like, that's her dad and that's her sisters. And he says, no, I need to go over and say hello to them. And she was like, no, it's okay. And he was like, no. He said, it's respectful, I go over and actually say hello to them, which they did. And I got on like a house on fire. So I'm hoping that things do work out for these two, because I know it's early days, but I am rooting for Tristan and Cassandra right now. So then you see them getting ready basically to go and pack to go on their honeymoons. You've got Cassandra and Tristan packing to go into the Rhine wine region in South Australia. And he also organised her a birthday surprise because it was their birthday that day, and he was so attentive with it. And then you got Sarah and Tim who go to Fiji. So I think they're having a dinner, and Sarah is basically telling Tim about her past, and the recent trigger basically was him saying he'd only split up from his ex 6 months ago. So she said that, you know, she knew what it was like to split up from someone and have that temerity to keep going back to them even though you know it's a toxic situation. So she says that talking about the past with him and that being a trigger for her when he said what he said, she was hoping to relax a little bit. So Tim planned that romantic dinner, and he was like, he just wants to get things back on track, but he does really like her. It went well at first when they were ignoring the elephant in the room. Like, seriously ignoring the elephant in the room. It did go well at first. And then she started in, and he stopped himself from saying something, and then she was basically saying to him, no, go on, don't do that, say it. And usually I would say when people stop themselves from saying something, yeah, it usually means that what they say is not going to be received greatly by the other person. And this was true in this fact, because Tim was going to tell Sarah, well, basically he was going to say, well, maybe you should relax a little bit. And he turned, and to her that wasn't a joke. She literally flipped her lid when he said that. He said that you don't tell a woman to relax because it's quite rude. And I was like, my God, you were the one that forced this man to say what he was going to say when he decided he was going to keep it to himself. And now you're getting mad because he said what he was going to say, and this is the reason why he decided he was going to keep it to himself. She makes no sense. Like, she honestly makes no sense. They both glossed over the real subject of why Sarah's pissed at him at the end of the day, because I think it's coming from a place of fear and anxiety in terms of things are not really done with his ex. That's where it is. And he was basically saying to her, you need to cut me some slack, because he was trying, and she just wouldn't. Like, she seriously wouldn't. So she then starts nitpicking at him, gets up from the table and fucking storms off. And he was just like, oh, for fuck's sake, like, seriously. And I'm just like, yeah, because she's not dealt with her own situation in regards to how her experience of going back to her ex each time that she's putting that situation onto Tim, when his situation is completely different in that scenario. But again, that's where it ended. And that's where I am going to leave it, and I'll be back in quick succession with the next episode. As I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so you know I'm on and back on your screens. And I'll speak to you all again soon. Peace out.